Welcome back to my garage. I'm setting up for a video meeting with Mr. Toyo regarding sponsorship for this year's Bonneville adventure. But after that, we're gonna try some smaller main jets in the brute force test setup. Cause just a tiny bit of testing you saw in the previous video, just gurgling at idle pretty much, and a little bit of trying to rev it. I spent like the whole liter of fuel here, and that's too much, even though fuel consumption will be insane. Not as insane as on the 25% nitro mix, because this is pure methanol, but it'll be insane, but it's definitely not this insane. This car was set up to run on the conventional PIP2 engine with methanol and nitro, and that's a 50cc tiny little engine, and it doesn't really suck hard on the carb, which means it needs a larger jet. Whilst this blower, this sucks hard on that carb. It's a 35mm, 34 actually millimeter carb, and that's not super large for a 500cc per revolution blower. That means the jets are, that should mean the jet is far too large. It's hard to, well, you can probably see the massive hole in there. I think that's a 3, I think what I ended up on was 3, maybe 3.25. Let me see if, so this is my makeshift boxer. It's a 3.5. I'm gonna replace that with what this carb came with and what seems to work, and that's 2.1. That. There's probably a bunch of residual fuel in here, so let's just try to, let's blow out the engine before we try starting it. There's surprisingly little fuel coming out there. That's a good thing, I guess. There. Okay, well, let's see how a 2.1mm jet works. There's obviously something else going on. This is not how it should behave. So that's about top, and then it's closed, but it opens again here. Does not seem like that has slipped. Like, it seems like it's in the correct position. Could it be that I can't remember, I think I ran it like this without a blow-off valve here earlier. Let's have a look at this reed valve and see if it's intact. Unfortunately, it's super hard to get to the other one because it's jammed in between the engine and the dyno frame. If this is broken, then there's definitely, that's definitely a problem. If it's not, then the other one could be. But it won't be conclusive. Well, that's in good shape. That is in good shape. So these are the homemade 3D printed one with much more support for the bridges. There's like 3 passages, well, 6 passages, and the bridges are supported because they broke on the earlier, but that is fine. It's a few days later. I've been doing administrative stuff. What I think is the problem here, it could be that reed valve is broken. Feels like everything else is fine. What I think is the problem, or could be the problem, is that we're not running a dump valve. Too much airflow from this so that it's not able to exit the engine fast enough. I can't remember if I've ever ran this without this dump valve on the intake. So let's put that back on and see what happens. This is a wastegate, but what it does in this configuration, it just bleeds off excess pressure. And not the most environmentally friendly or fuel efficient way, because it just dumps fresh air and fuel out of out of here. And for now I'm just gonna put it like this, so that'll lube the chain and cause a major fire hazard, but for testing purposes we'll be fine. Probably want to put on a mask now, because the methanol fumes in the air isn't the best to breathe in. We have our pressure bleed valve here. Not bleed anything, so that'll be the lowest pressure we can do. I'm traveling over to the United States in under a week now, and luckily my all-time favorite sponsor NordVPN is with me to keep me safe when I'm connecting to Wi-Fi in airports and shadier places. NordVPN keeps you safe on the internet by creating an encrypted tunnel so that nobody can spy on you and steal your data. That's super important, and especially on open public networks, because, well, first of all, you can't know if that open public network is actually the official open public network, or if it's some criminal who's set up a network for nefarious purposes. NordVPN is super fast, and I'm not noticing a difference running with it or without it. 5,000 plus servers all around the world, and that means you can pretend to be from wherever you want, and that comes in handy for watching movies and series and playing games that are not available at your current location, because you can just spoof your location. Well, that's awesome. Head to nordvpn.com/twostrokestuffing for a great deal, and it's risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And yet again, thank you NordVPN for sticking with me, even though I'm such an erratic fellow. Thank you. Now, well, you can see that working, letting out the pressure. So that's obviously not the problem. There has to be something that has gone. Something that could have gone wrong, because nothing has changed here versus last time this ran. So something has to have happened inside of the engine. And I'll have to revisit the footage. Maybe it could be it didn't act like this immediately and then something happened. So I'll have to have a look at what I filmed last video and see. But I have a feeling we broke these reeds. Oh, fucking hell. It is a miracle that nothing got destroyed there. Wow. Huh. And that valve is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So it's not that. So that's not the problem. Could it be that these valves are much stiffer than the ones I've used earlier? Could that be the problem? There is a difference here, and that's the nitromethane. There is zero nitromethane in there now, pure methanol. And last time we never tested this on anything but 25% nitro. For the rotary valve to shift, so the axle is one piece, the driver and the axle is one piece, so that driver can't shift on the axle. And the pulley is attached to the axle with this like pin slash screw, so that's screwed in there, so that really can't shift unless that shears off, and then this would have been super wobbly. I think it's the fuel. So I think it is the fuel. There's no real way for me to test that. I don't want to try to run gasoline because of the pressures and all the fumes involved, the fire hazard, but just compression wise, gas wouldn't work here. It needs to be nitro. I can get some, I think we're down to like 15% now. That's the limit, 13 maybe. 13 by weight, I'm not sure, by volume, I'm not sure. Anyways, I'll see if I can get like a 5 liter of that for testing purposes. There's a few things there's some things I should do, and there's things I want to do also. Like I want to do all the stuff, but I should make a new shorter pipe for running on, well, good thing we did like the testing here now, because we have tested that the pump still works, the float, the whole pump around float chamber system still works fine, so that's okay to put on the land speed bike. This year we're going to start off running on gas like last year, and I'm pretty confident we're going to set the record on gas in our class, cause even though we're running in the open fuel class, cause we had pretty much 50% of the power we should have last year, and we managed to run faster than the record. So this year we will be, we're in good shape for that, as long as my theory about the stinger being the problem is correct, and I'm 98% sure it is. It makes sense with the lower air pressure and stuff. What I did notice though is that on gas, the engine we were up around 27 horsepower on pump gas at like between 17.5 and 18,000 RPM. We had some issues with the ignition system not coping. I think it seemed, especially on the methanol and nitro mix, but that shouldn't be a problem on the bike because we're running the Sealtronic ignition system, which I've heard from several people now is there's a more spark power there, and it's better for high RPM, high pressure situations. I'm just rambling, but what I learned from 27 horsepower on normal pump gas, and then 32 on methanol and 25% nitromethane. What I learned from that is that on methanol and nitro, it peaked at 15.5, so 2000 RPM lower. So obviously the exhaust gas temperatures are lower, and that makes the power band lower. And that means that because the airflow isn't higher on methanol and nitro, the airflow is the same pretty much, but it's just that there's more fuel there and more energy. The port area can support the higher airflow, the gas airflow at 18,000, and that means if I build a pipe that's short enough to bring that up, bring the methanol and nitro RPM numbers up 2000 RPM, so make it, I think, like 12% shorter, and try to keep simulate it to still be good. That means we should have a bunch more power on methanol and nitro, because 27 on gas and then 32 on methanol and 25% nitro, that doesn't make sense. I know the cylinder is capable of the port area, specific time area of the ports at 18,000 RPM is good enough to retain the torque numbers on gas, and the reason those are lower than on methanol is just because there's less energy in that set amount of airflow, which means we can definitely bring power up by running a shorter pipe, unless we're on the limit of shortness of pipe and how the pulses and shock waves forming and stuff behaves. But I think that's one thing, and we want to do that and bring that over for Bonneville for testing, like first run on gas, set a record, switch over to nitro, set a record, like if we set a record, and then try the new pipe, set a high record. I want to start designing the new opposed piston engine. I'm flying over to the United States on the 8th now, so just in almost just a week. And I'm going to stay at George McMurray Trimax Speedsters for a few days, and they have a working post piston supercharged two-stroke. So I'm really looking. You've seen it. I'm really looking forward to visiting and seeing that and all their other stuff, and getting some first-hand information from guys actually running an engine like that. I sat down here to talk about what I actually want to do now, and that is next year we're planning on running a streamliner, a proper streamliner, to set the absolute record. And I'm not too worried about creating a good shape for airflow. That'll be not easy, but it's completely doable with just some CFD tools and stuff. And I'm not worried about creating the framework for it and getting everything into the correct position. Nothing like the mechanical part doesn't worry me. The aerodynamics part doesn't worry me. What worries me is making something that's actually rideable and safe. And that's why I want to create like a test frame to figure out sitting geometry and just geometry. So just a simple test frame. And I've got a subject here I can use for a simple test jig. And plan is to throw Per off some cliffs and see if he can steer at speed. People have been wanting me to do something with this for a long while. It's not my style to fix this up and just run it like a normal moped. I don't need a normal moped. But this could be the perfect little test base for our streamliner, because I can just chop this off and then I'll create like a middle part where we can test various steering geometry and seating position, and just see how low you can go and how lay down you can go and still be able to properly control the bike, because I know that can be a problem in a motorcycle streamliner. So much easier with cars, I think, because you don't have to keep it upright.
En el taller con sudor en la frente, mi motor nuevo, un sueño latente. Dos tiempos rugen como un trueno distante, el corazón late con ritmo constante. Con mis manos y esta vieja llave le doy forma a un rugido que sabe a pasión pura y camino sin freno. Cada tuerca es un paso hacia el cielo. Oh, motor que cantas en la brisa, tu rugido es mi mayor sonrisa.
I think this will work. So what I want to do is I'm going to chop the frame, like chop this section out. Before that, I'm going to weld on some plates that'll be aligned with this box section. That way we can create some kind of a center section that we can adjust the length of, and also the angles of this. Even though the steering geometry and all that isn't the reason for this, the reason is to find see how low we can go with the rider position and how lean back we can go before it becomes a steering issue, a control issue. Like that'll extend. That'll be a good extension for testing purposes. I've studied the current record holder, the BudFab Streamliner, to the best of my ability. There's not that much info out there that I can find, at least. And it's, well, if they can ride it, well, we should be able to ride something close to it. And I like the steering system. I think that might be like the clue for why it's okay to ride. I've heard so many horror stories about motorcycle streamliners and how they're super hard to control. They use a special 3-link steering geometry system, and I've seen someone else copy it, and they stated that it was super easy to control after like 20 miles an hour. Then it was stable, and that means we don't have to test if this contraption will be rideable, and this whole thing I started is kind of pointless. What we will do is actually, because I started drawing up something in CAD, but I realized quickly that it's too hard to get it right, get the dimensions right for the cockpit. So I'm gonna get Per here someday soon, and we're gonna make like a mock-up of the roll cage construction for the cockpit where the ride is positioned in wood, just to get the dimensions around the shoulders and the helmet and all that. The brute force. I went through my old videos, and actually I started this in this exact configuration, even with the timing set exactly like it's set here. Months ago, and it didn't behave like this. So it is the fuel. It's that it doesn't want to fire it, probably more like it fires it in a cyclic manner, because there's no nitro there, and probably if we preheated everything, then it would work better. It turned out that this super short fat pipe actually works super well, and I think we need to make an even shorter one to get the proper benefits of methanol and nitro. But there might be, with higher nitro percentage, we should have higher exhaust gas temperatures, and then this pipe might actually be back to being perfect, because there's a point where you get too much RPM, and then the port area isn't enough anymore, and then it won't make any power. It'll make less power if it revs too high and the power peak is up there. It seems like around 17.5, 18,000 is the sweet spot, and this was peaking on 25% nitro here, just dyno pulls. It was peaking around 15,500 RPM. The reason I sat down to talk about this is I've only got one, and I know somebody, probably several people, offered to build some duplicates of this pipe, and of course with how things have been, I haven't replied. So please, can you send an email to twostrokestuffing@gmail.com, and if you wanted to help me out and build a pipe or two. But I do want to try to build another one myself, because I want to test the laser welder properly, and I also want to, I think I've got a super easy solution to how I can convert it into a CNC laser cutter also. Kind of flowing over with things I want to test and do here. So I think this will be just a complete chaos episode. And my laser cutter idea is as simple as this, just a sturdy piece mounted to my mill table, and then I'll create a table here. Now that won't give me the largest cutting area, but it'll be large enough for a bunch of stuff, creating like a holder for the laser. There's nothing I need to buy, I think, and there won't be any height adjustment, but that doesn't matter because we can set it at the correct height and then level the table like you do with a 3D printer and cut out pieces. As a temporary solution, I want to buy a CNC router table, cheap kit or just parts for it, and build a proper laser cutter table. It's been a while. It's been a long while. Let's remember to put the laser goggles on. Laser welder. Oh, that's so great. Such an awesome. Well, so far, let's not get ahead of ourselves there. That was pretty nice. Pretty nice. Like, there's no effort. There's no there's no effort. I mean, holy. I'm not sure if there's full penetration. We might be going a little too fast. Let's go down to 10. A little hiccup at the end there. I'm gonna go over the last little bit there. Doesn't matter. It just made it worse. The heat affected zone is so small. You can see it's a little bit larger with 10 millimeters versus 15, but still really small. No. So the fit up isn't perfect, but that's good because my fit up seldom is perfect. So let's try to tack these together and just see how it ends up. And, I gotta remember to pull away. So this will be interesting because there's a little bit of a like half a millimeter, maybe close to a millimeter gap in this spot here because they weren't perfectly straight. Oh my god. Okay, I went off the line a little bit there. But still with a 1 millimeter gap, no problem at all. Oh, I missed the, that's my only, oh. My problem is I'm not hitting the, there. So the welder is welding things up perfectly. The problem is I'm missing the spot. I mean, let's go over there. So that turned out perfectly. Well, there's some hiccups here and there, and I went off the line, and I can see I didn't hit both sides here. But in places where I just followed the line, well, actually the welder followed the line, and I just sat there holding it, turning this around, like following the push of the wire. It is just perfect. Look at that tiny heat affected zone. Look at how smooth that weld is. And the inside is just full penetration and just as smooth. So this truly is the perfect welder for somebody who can't weld. This was the first test piece, and I haven't used the welder for over half a year. I'm just amazed. And so this will make my making pipes capability so much better. Like with a little bit of practice, I think I can do pretty much perfect welds every time. And how it's performed over the, I can't even see where the gap was. I think that might be here. So a 1 millimeter gap, and it just powered through. Yeah, was here, because you can see there's a couple of holes there where I kind of missed. With a little bit more better fit up and some finesse in my hand, this will be perfect. Of course, I didn't press record, but I've been first I tried to smash the tube without cutting it, and now I've cut it open, and I'm gonna see if I can tear it. And I've been working this a lot now. It's actually super. There's full penetration, and it's just super good. It's great. It is great. Oh, so there now we're tearing it. Well, actually not the weld, it's the metal around it, surrounding it. Oh! No, we're not tearing the weld here either. We're tearing alongside it. I don't think TIG or MIG would have performed any better. Like, this is pretty good. It's pretty good. This is the first step towards a rotary welding table of sorts, like a jig. But it's completely stupid. Like, I thought this would center better, but it doesn't. And of course, if there's like if there's a bend like this, then it won't sit here. Won't work. I think actually the best solution. Now we're finding solutions for a problem I haven't even mentioned yet. I think I've come up with a really simple, neat solution here. So one of these mag bases in the chuck. Now the base isn't that big, so like could work for smaller pieces, but not for something as well. That size is too large. Then steel plate like that. It doesn't hold very hard with that plate in between, so we might need something stronger than this. I should be able to find that. I was thinking of having this being able to be angled, but should actually, with the slight angles we're talking about here, we should actually be able to just do stuff like this. And then we can use the carriage to center. I'm gonna stop myself there. I don't need a rotary welding table. I can perfectly fine weld up a pipe handheld easily, and it might not be like perfectly uniform the whole way around every weld. Maybe I'll miss the line, I'll have to do it over, but the welds will be good. They'll just maybe not look perfect everywhere, and that doesn't matter. So I don't need. I've started probably 25 projects here now. Many you haven't seen on camera, and I just gotta. Well, it's great to be back, and I'm a little bit all over the place. So what I need to do, I need to gather up stuff I'm gonna bring over to the United States now. I'm leaving Sunday, that's in 5 days. No check bag for this trip over, so I can only bring stuff I can carry in my carry-on, and it can't be heavy stuff. I think I'm gonna bring at least bring the new fuel system for the for the methanol and nitro speedway carb, so I can see how we'll fit that to the bike. I need to weld up a new shorter pipe, but I think I mentioned earlier that no, I don't think we'll need a shorter pipe. That's I don't need to weld up a shorter pipe. I need more of this pipe in case it breaks. That's what I need, because the nitro, with higher nitro percentage, it'll burn hotter and we'll get more RPM and higher pressure in the pipe. We have sprockets in case we can't get more RPM. We have the massive amounts of power, but not enough RPM. I think so. Belts. I need to find belts. Well, that's stuff I need to worry about when I get there, not now. Oh God. Thanks for watching. Next video, what I really want to do is start working on the streamliner. There's gonna be a streamliner in action next year. That's gonna be the new engine, but streamliner, I think actually streamliner will be streamliner has to be our top priority alongside the Bonneville effort this year, because it'll take lots of time and lots of work and probably lots of money to get a proper streamliner going. I'm so looking forward to building one. See you next time.